Hey, how's it going, guys? It's your friend Flumposaur here, and I decided to upload some recent arena footage that I got. PvPing with my two brothers as Kitty Cleave. And now, I should probably mention that we are just starting out with arenas, and, well, we're starting to get the hang of it by, starting to develop team synergy and whatnot. The other main thing is that our healer, the Holy Pally, is only 12 years old. And honestly, for his age, I think he's doing a pretty awesome job. For those of you who don't know what Kitty Cleave is, it's a comp made up of a Holy Paladin, Feral Druid, and warrior, arms warrior. And so I decided to, to upload some of the footage that I've gotten over the past few days playing with them. And I'll be going over it, just kind of step by step to kind of explain my thought process and what we were communicating to each other at the time, so you guys who are just starting out with arenas can kind of get a feel and an idea of what you guys have to be doing as a feral and maybe as a Holy Pally and warrior if you guys play those classes too. So yeah, guys, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so in this first match, we go up against a Resto Druid, Ret Pally, and Hunter. Now at the start of the match, we notice that the Ret and Hunter have a mark of the Wild on them, which is what lets us know that the stealth player is a Druid. So I try and look for the Druid to break him out of stealth. And I manage to find him and immediately realize that he's a Resto Druid. And now let me tell you something about Resto Druids in Arena. Unless you have two really, really good peelers on your team, just don't play one. Resto Druids are extremely hard to play in arenas. And the good news for us is that if pressured, the only cooldowns they pretty much have are Tree Form and Nature Swiftness. So our plan is to pressure the Druid hard from the start, so he pops Tree Form early, like he just did. And once that Tree Form is down, pretty much go balls to the walls on him. So as soon as the Tree Form runs out, I call a switch back to the Druid, and we burst him down. So for this next match, we go up against a Warrior, Hunter, Priest. Our plan for this match is to DPS the Hunter, and as soon as the Priest uses his cooldown, switch to him and burst on him. After training the Hunter for a bit, I get a call out that my Warrior is getting focused, so I cyclone the other team's Warrior to relieve some pressure off of him, which allows our Warrior to get back onto the Hunter. Meanwhile, the enemy Priest tries to get mana burns on our healer, so it's important that he LOSs him and keeps him from getting too close to avoid the Priest's fear. I notice that the Priest uses his fear, so I immediately call a switch to the Priest, hoping it will catch him off guard. Because both of our DPS classes are melee, it's important that he can no longer fear us and relieve some pressure off of himself. The Hunter and Warrior try their best to peel off their healer with damage, which forces me to go defensive for a few seconds. But my Warrior pops his offensive cooldowns, and my healer gets me to a safe amount of health to get back to Cat and finish the Priest off. In this next match, we face a Resto Chamois Warlock Rogue, commonly known as RLS. When going up against RLS, both Rogue and Lock are viable kill targets off the start. But because we want to start aggressive, our plan is to open on the Lock. But before we are able to get our plans in motion, our healer gets sapped, and I realize a few seconds later that my warrior has already charged in. So I charge the Lock, and he uses his portal to get away onto one of the pillars. Now when a caster does this, it's better to retreat back to your side, so he's forced to jump back down. I get a full clone on the priest, thinking that my warrior is still in the Lock. I go to bear form and decide to stun the priest to prevent him from getting any heals off. My warrior mistakes me stunning the priest as a switch, and switches to the priest while I jump back onto the Lock. Now at this point in time, I'll already use my trinket in the opening to get out of the rogue's cheap shot. The rogue notices this and sees that I'm completely on the offensive and decides to pop his Shadow Dance and Smoke Bombs. Because he's Shadow Dancing, I can be expecting to be stunned in the Smoke Bomb for 7 seconds while receiving huge amounts of burst. In this situation, it's important for your pally to pop his bubble or his Aura Mastery and run into the Smoke Bomb to prevent them from getting the kill. But because my healer isn't familiar with Smoke Bombs at this point, I'm unable to survive the burst and eventually go down. In this last match, we go up against another RLS. Now this time we'll be prepared for the Rogue Smoke Bomb Shadow Dance. So when we start off, we're deciding on what we're going to do when one of my teammates breaks the Rogue out of stealth. This was a huge mistake by the Rogue, because not only is he completely LOS from the rest of his team, but they're also all the way on the other side of the map. We decide to pop our offensive cooldowns on him to catch an early kill and capitalize on their mistake. But the Rogue manages to vanish at the last second. Now like a complete badass, I misclick and cyclone the Lock's Fell Hunter instead of the Chamois. But I do manage to get an interrupt on the Chamois right after, and because I know he's concentrated on getting his Rogue back up to full health, I decide to focus him, seeing how he lets his health drop down to 50%. But their team does an excellent job to peel, giving the Chamois some breathing room to heal. So as I stay training the Chamois, I overextend a bit and my warrior almost dies. The Rogue pops his Smoke Bomb and gets him down to about 10% health. But because my team is expecting this already, my healer and warrior are able to coordinate and survive the Rogue's burst. My warrior jumps back on the Chamois to help me burst, and I catch a full fear when the Chamois gets really low. Make sure you get your healer to dispel those fears as fast as you can, so you can keep the pressure up and fish for the kill. After eating the entire fear, I feral charge back onto the Chamois, hitting him with a Ravage followed by a 5-point bite, which secures us the win. Well guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more upcoming content. This was Flumposaur from the Scryers, and I'll see you all next time.